Alright everyone, how you doing? Welcome to AFC Game by Game. Today I am joined with Danny in what is the aftermath of the Monaco defeat in the Champions League last 16 yesterday. An absolutely devastating result for us, and if you don't know Danny, he's a regular on Arsenal Fan TV with the fan reactions. Unfortunately couldn't get an interview with Robbie yesterday, but he told me he had quite a few things to say. So really, how do you sum up a performance like that? How do you sum up more mediocrity at the club following what was one of our best opportunities to progress in Europe in what could be years?
I think it's such a shame because we say the same thing after all these big games, whether it's about managers, stubborn tactics, or certain players not performing or not having the bottle. And I just think it's frustrating because, like you said, this was one of our best chances to qualify for the quarter-final. Once you're in the quarter-final, anything can happen. We saw Bayern Leverkusen beat Atletico last night. That's potentially one big team out. Then you've got Porto and Basel. You draw one of them teams. I know you can't take anyone for granted, but on your day, you've got to look at the squad to squad. Our team is better than those three teams I just mentioned there. It's just same old, and that's what really frustrates me. It was a prime example again last night, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that really frustrated me most of it is that if it was Bayern Munich, if it was Real Madrid, if it was Barcelona, I could accept it because I've just become so accustomed to seeing it in recent years. But the fact is, Monaco, I haven't heard of half of their players, to be honest.
The thing is, like what you just said there, we should accept it, understand where you're coming from, but we're Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, I know.
We should not be accepting defeat to anybody.
The thing is, though, in those games against Bayern Munich, especially last season, we fought so well in the first leg, and I've got to be honest, I think that we were very unfortunate to lose that game.
Well, the penalty miss was
devastating, by Ozil. That was awful for us, but I think that in those games we played really well from the start. I think that,
and the away legs.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think the away leg, it's really difficult to talk about those kind of things because you can kind of you can predict it. You can kind of predict how this game against Monaco is going to go in the second leg. We're going to get 2 goals. We're going to fall short. But in my opinion, we shouldn't be losing at home in that manner to Monaco. It's not just the fact that they got 3 lucky goals. They completely outplayed us in every essence of the word yesterday. They were dominant for spells of it. They got very good goals. Berbatov, 34 years old, and he's just actually showing Giroud how to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, there were individuals last night I think people are going to pick out. You got Mertesacker, you got Ozil, and you got Giroud. I think those were the 3 people that people are really pinpointing as players that were relatively awful for us last night. I mean, what do you think's got to change in terms of picking the lineup? Because the one thing to me is the lineup we actually started was a very strong one. So how the performances have been good recently. We've been getting results. So why didn't it happen last night?
What I think has got to change, especially with the lineup more often, is that we don't show enough respect to opposition. What you just mentioned there about Berbatov, he causes chaos playing for Tottenham, Man United, Fulham even, and now Monaco, right? We don't pick up on target with him, right? This examples can be given with Drogba with Chelsea, Rooney with Man United, even Skirtle with Liverpool. He's their big target man despite being the defender, and he scored I think 3 or 4 goals against us in his career. Same with Berbatov again last night. You knew, I think the problem being, right, and this isn't just Monaco last night, this can go, Tottenham away is a great example of this. Home and away game. People before the game, when you're like talking in the pub, everyone's like, yeah, we're going to smash them 3 or 4-0. It's not just the players, it's the fans. We don't show enough respect. I went into last night's game, I honestly thought 3-0, but I said we'll get 1 early and 2 late on. I said the rest of the game must be a real battle. Boy, I was wrong, but like, I wasn't going, yeah, we're going to win 4 or 5-0. Like, a lot of people were last night. So we sit in the same block in the top, and a lot of people were overconfident. And it's the same, we've got to show. I mean, one thing what we need to clear out is that we're not that great. We're a good team on our day, but we're nothing like what your Chelseas and your Bayern Munichs are. So in a way, we don't have a right to go into games against these half-decent teams, like Tottenham. Even though I don't like Tottenham, you've got to accept they're a decent team. You can't go into games like going, yeah, we're going to smash them 4-0. Because they took 4 points off us this year, and deservedly so, in my opinion. Same last night with Monaco. So, you know, we'll breeze through the first leg, second leg we can field a weak team, suddenly in the quarter-final. People like João Moutinho, I think, a lot of people disagree with this, I thought he won the game last night.
He did.
Him and, I think it's the number 23. The number 23 and number 21, they were on the left-hand side, they were both combining for fun with each other.
I thought they had 22 as well, Kondogbia. I thought he completely took Ozil and Cazorla and all of our creativity out of the game. He did everything that maybe Coquelin couldn't really do last night. I thought he was class. It's just kind of ironic that we've been linked to Kondogbia so heavily in recent summers, and it's kind of come back to haunt us in that sense.
Something I think is frustrating as well is that a lot of people are saying Coquelin is world class, right? This isn't me slagging him off one bit because he's done a great job since he's come in, but I think it highlights a major problem. When Flamini came in at the start of last season, people were saying how he's fantastic, world class. Now people slate him, right? And I fear the thing with Coquelin, he's an improvement on Flamini, but I honestly reckon if you put somebody like Vidal, not even Vidal, Schneiderlin.
Yeah, exactly.
Put Schneiderlin in that team, he will make Coquelin look bang average. That's what I think. It's because Coquelin is filling in something that we majorly needed. It'll look good against West Ham away and Hull at home, but in the big game last night, not just Coquelin, like most of them, they don't show up, and that is a real factor of why I think I've said it before, I think we're a million miles away from the league, and especially the Champions League. A lot of people disagree, but that is a major factor.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think maybe you're a little harsh on Coquelin. I thought last night he was our best player. I thought the best of a bad bunch. He breaks up the play really well, and he tries really hard. I think the major problem for us yesterday was that the whole team didn't play well, so it's hard to pick out individuals, but he was certainly a bright spark for us. But I do completely agree that we need to get a Schneiderlin, a Vidal, someone in there who can fill that role and be a regular starter in there for 5 to 10 years to come. The fact of the matter is Coquelin is kind of a stopgap. I always thought he had promise, but he's not really shown his true potential till now. I mean, we can't forget how well he's played against City away and how he's dictated play in those kind of games. He is a really good player on his day, but I feel that we need someone more established, and I think that goes for a lot of areas of the pitch. I mean, one player I just want to ask you about, Per Mertesacker. What do you make of him? Because
I rewatched the game, and Gary Neville done some magnificent analysis on it. I've had mixed views of him since he's come. I like the passion and desire that he shows, but that should be something that everyone who puts the Arsenal shirt on should have. Everyone should be passionate like that. You shouldn't stand out just because you show grit, just because when a player doesn't go over to the travelling fans. Like I went up to City last year, I had to get up at about 3:45 in the morning for a Saturday lunchtime kick-off, and then you see Ozil Walkoff at the end, and Mertesacker going over and telling them you should go over and clap the fans. I appreciate that, but that should be something that just comes
naturally.
Exactly. Yeah. You shouldn't need to do that, even though it's a sign of leadership. Like the Invincibles documentary, this is what I think we're lacking, right? After we won the league at Tottenham in 2004, so it come through. Sol Campbell said he had a little row with Jens Lehmann in the dugout. If you watch the documentary, you'll see it on there. He had a little row with Jens Lehmann in the dugout because he wanted to win so badly, and Lehmann give away the late penalty. We just won the league at a local rival's ground. Bearing in mind he captained Tottenham, and he's fuming because we didn't win the game. That is what we need now. Yet you got players last night who at 2, if that would have finished 2-1 due to us scoring a late goal, people would be like, oh yeah, it's okay, we'll win out there. Yeah, I think 2-1 last night would have been a false reflection. Don't get me wrong, we missed chances, so did they.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with Mertesacker is, just brushing on that point briefly again, I think a lot of it has to come down to him getting the captain's armband. Not that he is the official captain, he's the vice captain, but I think a lot of it is putting so much pressure on him. His performances have dropped dramatically without Laurent Koscielny beside him. He looks like a shadow of a player that we've really become accustomed with. And it's really devastating to see that, because I think he's been such an inspirational player. Last season he was a kind of a cult hero at the club. I think a lot of people really looked up to him and they wanted to see him get the armband. It's a similar situation to Vermaelen. I thought he was a class centre-back before he got the armband, and he deteriorated. The same's happening with Mertesacker. Obviously age is becoming a factor. I think we've got to start Gabriel against Everton.
I think the thing with Gabriel, I haven't seen enough of him. I've heard, I think Bigfoot on Arsenal Fan TV said he's world class, but other people say
I need to see more of him. But I thought what we saw against Borough,
he looked quite solid. But the thing I've said before to Robbie on Arsenal Fan TV, and once again a lot of people disagree with this, I said we need 100 million spent on our team and you've got to be realistic, because in this day and age you need, I say we're about 2 or 3 world-class players short. Goalkeeper, and before people go who's out there, the one who I really want, if they don't get top 4, I would go to Tottenham. There you go, there's 25 mil for Hugo Lloris. Fish about also for him. If not, you've got the likes of Begovic at Stoke or Fraser Forster at Southampton, and that's just the Premiership alone, that's not going into Europe. We need, I said a straight line before, a centre half to go with the keeper, There's the one I like, Hummels or Subotic. Winston Reid's out of contract because I'm not West Ham. I think he's solid enough. Defensive midfielder, which everyone's been crying out for. And you can go through your Schneidlings, Wanyamas, Kadira's there. And a striker. Benteke, Cavani, Jackson Martinez, Higuain. Even if the rumours are true about Suarez being unsettled, going for him.
Yeah, I mean, I find that every single transfer window we come to, we seem to be about 2 or 3 players short, and I think that's a lot of it is becoming to the fact that we're putting too much faith in players that are maybe getting a bit too old than they should be at the club. It happens every single season, and then we find that those players deteriorate throughout the next campaign, and we're left with another incomplete squad, and it happens every season. We're 2 or 3 players short. I kind of agree with you in the sense that we need a world-class striker up there.
Last night showed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly I love Giroud, if I'm going to be honest with you. He's scored 10 goals in 13 appearances this season. He's been nothing short of phenomenal for us. And considering how he was when he came in, I mean, since he's come in to us and Van Persie's gone to United, he's got more goals.
Yeah. But the thing with Giroud, though, I will say, is that he would be the perfect guy to. I'm not comparing to Sylvain Wiltord, but what Sylvain Wiltord was to that Invincible squad. If Henry was tiring out, you bring on Wiltord, he'll get you a goal. Someone like that, he's, in my opinion, I don't want him as the first choice striker. People say, what about Danny Welbeck? I love his work rate, and I love how much.
But he can't finish.
Exactly. That's the problem. Man United, a lot of people said this on Arsenal Fan TV, and at the end of the day, if you're watching this at home, you've got to be truthful with yourself. Is he Arsenal standard?
I think the thing with Welbeck is we paid 15 million for him, and that's all we've got, a 15 million pound player. He works extremely hard for us, but he can't find the back of the net. He's 24 years old now. He's coming into the peak of his life. He's got to be performing, hitting the back of the net. There was a prime example yesterday, about 5-6 minutes in, where he should have got a goal.
To be honest, that was unlucky that it hit Walcott. But that was just a case of him putting his foot through it. If he hits that at a certain angle, he had a massive space to the left to shoot.
He just got to be more composed in front of goal. But getting back to that Monaco game, I thought the third goal that we conceded was just so incredibly mediocre.
I thought it was savable. Honestly, I rewatched it. I'm not a fan of Espina. I'm not saying that because of what he done against Tottenham. I said that I think it was Galatasaray at home. I think was the game, and there was something about him that I don't think he's got the stature of a goalkeeper. His positioning, if you rewatch Harry Kane's second goal against us in the derby, look at his feet. If he's in the right position to push off, that's savable. There's something, and last night his positioning was all wrong again. I think Szczesny's got the same problem.
I think they're both Szczesny and Ospina are good number 2s.
Yeah,
I don't think they're good enough to be our number 1. They're not Jens Lehmann standard. I mean, they're better than Almunia, but they're not quite Jens Lehmann. I do think we do certainly need to solidify some areas of the pitch. But just the last word, really. Do you think that we can go through in this tie?
Realistically, no, because we all say, "Oh, what if we score early?" And I'm often, I'll be like, "What if?" But now I'm come to the conclusion that it's only going to be the same old, same old. I'm not going to get my hopes up just for it to be brought back down to earth again. If we score early, anything's possible. But knowing us, it's a small pitch out there. We won't get our game going. I personally can't see it.
No, I can't. It's just because it's so utterly predictable how it's gone. We do it in every leg. We botch up the first leg and then we put in a heroic performance, and everyone seems to think that it's okay that we've done that. We've shown a fight. But last night for me was just unforgivable, the way we played in the game that presented the best opportunity for us in Europe for years and what could be, a decade to come.
Well, what I wanted to say as well, one thing with the manager, right? I've gone on Arsenal fans many times. Everyone knows I'm not his biggest fan. People say, look, and this is one point I wanted to bring up, and not a lot of people are going to like him in this. People go, look at what he's done for the club, look at where he's brought the club, right? A few points. We were a big club before Wenger. I've only been alive, I was born in '98, so I don't know us before Wenger, but I know our history. And I know that we were a big club before Wenger. When he come, we were on 10 league titles, right? 18 years later, we're on 13. I don't think that's that good. He hasn't won the European Cup. He hasn't achieved in that bracket. Granted, he's done well in the FA Cup. The budget that he's worked on since we moved into the Emirates, he's done a phenomenal job getting in the Champions League. But now we've started spending money, e.g. Ozil, Sanchez, and it's the same as what it was in 2009, 2010, 2011. We haven't stepped on despite spending the money. People often say, oh, look at where he's taken us to the Emirates. If you asked any Arsenal fans, say our age and above, who went to Highbury and can vaguely remember it, most people say leaving Highbury was the worst thing we could have done because it ripped the soul out of the football club. That's the way I see it. We've moved on. They sold us a dream. They said, oh, we're going to go to the Emirates to compete with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have played at the Emirates twice, pulled our pants down. Barcelona have come, lost, and not to sell. I think, granted, he's done extremely well with, like I said, the budget he's had to work on, but it is time for a change. You can't defend the undefendable for that much, for as long as what is gone on now. It's been nine years. He's been there for 18 years. 9 years of success, 9 years of failure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to really get into the whole manager debacle. I think that certainly there are aspects of Wenger's mentality that he's got to change. I think there are times when I could argue that he's guilty of living in the past just by his tactics. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Danny, thank you so much for coming on today, mate.
Cheers.
Make sure to subscribe to AFC Game by Game. Do also check out Arsenal Fan TV, where you can see more of Danny doing regular interviews after every single home and away game. I might try and catch up with him at United away. Going to be going to that game. Anyway, guys, those are our thoughts on what was a shambolic performance last night. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Smash that like button, and I'll speak to you soon.